work is worth $50 an hour.
Mm-hmm. Man, no, it's really it's been a very live teaching, right?
Yeah.
Of how and this comes to you, Ingrid, like it shows up to you in a magical way, right?
Yeah.
These different teachings, these experiences, and so yeah, this the way that they treat us. Uh, I was reading today the book Case System because I was correcting more on the style, and it's I see another version of this case system being like the system itself. It's another. It's like so many layers
Yeah.
of how they imposed, and so we're so deeply robbed of our power, our freedom, our resources to be better, to get better. We compensate on talent, on effort, on love, because everybody's putting out their
Yeah.
sometimes their lives into this, making it in this system. But we, like you're saying, we gotta say no, we gotta get away from that. It's
Yes. Yeah.
so
So
help us.
we'll move on. I'm not sure where we stopped last week because my computer shut down and everything was, I had left it at where I stopped on the page, but my computer shut down to reboot and everything was lost. So, okay. So in this group of people in Malaysia who are matriarchal, men are given status by showing how mothering they can be, how nurturing they can be.
Okay.
So, from a mother's point, gift giving functions in mothering to imply the value of the child, but it also functions in reverse mode to encourage the mother to give to the child because they see the child as valuable.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And that's the whole difference. This exchange economy of money doesn't see the other as valuable. It just sees you as an avatar that I can sell to.
Mm-hmm.
Because I went through it all. I paid thousands of dollars for coaching on this.
And then people want to be have an avatar.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
So in the patriarchy, it appears that in order to achieve their masculine identity, boys must not have the same behavior as their mothers. Yeah. However, when children are small, the free satisfaction of their needs are met by their mothers is a very large part of their existence. So the mandate to be unlike their mothers turns little boys away from a behavior which is crucial for them at the time and which carries the logic of the gift. They are required to be non-mothering, non-gift giving in order to fulfill the gender identity which is imposed upon them by society at large. But in indigenous cultures, especially matriarchies which have gift economies, the process of becoming male is very different from the process in patriarchal cultures. And so the boy child does not have to give up gift giving in order to create his masculine identity. Different kinds of gifts and giving create different kinds of bonds between givers and receivers, and value is implied and passed around from person to person. Giving to and receiving from nature is practiced as sacred communication. So when there is no market based on exchange, but the society as a whole functions by giving and receiving, there's continuity for both males and females with the caregiving and receiving that they learn from their mothers from infancy on up. And I would say not just from their mothers, the whole tribe, even the men. So conversely, the combination of patriarchy and the market creates an altered and alienated world which is antithetical to mothering or gift giving and declassifies it and exploits it, making it the behavior of an unvalued and non-category. The kinds of behaviors and qualities competition, domination, and greediness fomented by patriarchal capitalism have survival value in market economies. War is really the replay of the market on a just a higher, a vaster plane. The purpose of war appears not to be not only to create the most killing exchanges, so that more people of other nations will have to give their lives for their country, but the reward for winning is to capture the largest amount of resources and become the prototype country, the father of nations. And I remember going over this last week. So human history in the West has not really begun, because from the beginning of the patriarchy until now, it has only been the history of an artificial parasitic male gender construction, which leaves out the agency for the rest of humanity. Perhaps we should say it is the history of a disease which infects or destroys all the healthy cultures it meets. Female communal agriculture provided an early model of peaceful society without private property. They were egalitarian and consensus-based societies. And when you have enough and I have enough, our giving takes on a symbolic character. This is an economy for life which values other than money are primary, in which values other than money are primary. So it's time to give the gift of living for the ideals of peace, freedom, unity, and equality for all. The biggest thing lacking in our current paradigm is how that we are stealing from our children and our grandchildren and our great-grandchildren, because we are not even thinking of allowing them the possibility of life. That there's not one thing on the land that isn't necessary, and there's not one person within community that isn't necessary for the whole of life to continue. No person is superior to the other, and giving is the only way to be human. And if you don't know that giving is essential to survival, then you don't know how to be human yet. I remember saying that last week now. And I'll say that again. If you don't know that gift giving is essential to survival, then you have no clue what it is to be human. If we lead our lives by giving continuously and never thinking about what we might get back from it, or using it as an exchange for something that we want somebody to do for us, then our needs will never go unmet. And that is absolutely true. I have experienced that over and over and over again in the last 10 years here. The gift imagery is a worldview where economic life is built on balanced human and environmental relations, a recognition of our interconnections and interdependencies, and a forward-looking use of resources to ensure future cycles of abundance, fertility, and the rebirth of all societies. Here we go. Now I know where we're at. So I'll skip a few paragraphs because we went over that last week. We're going to go to the Finlanders, the Sami tribe.
Okay.
So from them, their worldview and gift practice says giving is an active relationship between human and natural worlds based on a close interaction of sustaining and renewing the balance between them through gifts. Central to this perception is that the world as a whole is constituted of an infinite web of relationships, and extend it to and incorporate it into the entire social condition of the individual. Social ties apply to everybody and everything, including the land. People are related to their physical and natural surroundings through genealogies, oral tradition, and their personal and collective experiences pertaining to certain locations. The land is a physical and spiritual entity which humans are part of. Survival is dependent on the balance and renewal of the land, with the central principles being sustainable use of and respect for the natural realm. And their concept of sustainable is far different than the West, the commodity world, the commercial world. The relationship with the land, I shouldn't even use that word with relation to indigenous people. The relationship with the land is maintained by collective and individual rituals and ceremonies in which the gift and giving back are integral. The role of female deities in giving the gift of life to both humans and domestic animals, mainly reindeer, and to the connection to the land are mostly ignored by us. But the Sami deity Mataraka with her 3 daughters signify the very foundation of the Sami cosmic order. Mataraka is translated as Earth Mother. She and her 3 daughters are deities of new life who convey the soul of a child, create its body, and assist with menstruation, childbirth, and production of the children. One of the most important ways to maintain established relations and the socio-cosmic order has been the practice of giving to various siddhis, which is a sacred place in which the gift is given to thank spirits for the abundance, and that would be correlated to the Japanese Shinto shrines. Since the first vulvas were inscribed on cave walls and rock outcroppings tens of thousands of years ago, the female has been formally imagined as the gift giver par excellence. In Australian rock art, she is known as the first woman. The gift she gives of life and all that sustains it made a lasting impression on early humans, and so the Venus figures from the Paleolithic period with their huge breasts and buttocks demonstrated the gift-giving capacity of the ancestral matrix figure, later to be called the Great Mother, Mother Earth, Pachamama, or Gaia. The vulva, that sacred doorway, was the original glyph of the human species becoming literate. It is a sign expressing gratitude, reverence, and awe toward the female body and its marvelous ability to create life, to sustain it, and even in death as Earth Mother to receive it back and create new life out of it. So there are vulvas carved in rocks and painted in walls all over South America, North America, and the European continent, and the African continent. It is a fatal error to assume, as many people do these days, that the development of agriculture itself was the beginning of private property and domination of nature. Ancient female-based agriculture was practiced in harmony with nature and presents us with an almost utopian model of sustainability and peace on Earth, compared with everything that has occurred since these civilizations were first disrupted during the fourth millennium before BCE. The shift from gift economy to a commodity culture can be seen in the transition that occurred from matriarchal to patriarchal cultures everywhere. The way we live today as members of society is influenced by a worldview, a sense of history that are based to a large extent on male principles, an ideology of male dominance and universal fatherhood, patriarchy, the foundations of which are underpinned by structural and physical violence. The principles of matriarchal societies contradict this worldview, and none of those societies are the reversal of the patriarchy, where women are perceived to rule over men. All are egalitarian or equality societies. This means that hierarchies, classes, and the dominion of one gender by the other were unknown to them. While they are societies free of domination, they still have guidelines and codes of conduct that govern relationships and community. Equality in matriarchal societies does not mean a mere leveling of differences. The natural differences between the genders and the generations are respected and honored, and they never serve to create hierarchies. Each have their honor, and through complementary areas of activity, they are geared towards each other. Matriarchies are societies with complementary equality, where great care is taken to provide a balance. This applies to the balance between genders, among generations, and between humans and nature. So they're mostly egalitarian and non-accumulating, a freedom economy or matriarchal. They have a perfect mutuality or eini. Every advantage or disadvantage concerning the acquisition of goods is mediated by social rules. For example, at village festivals, wealthy clans are obliged to invite all inhabitants, not just those they want to. They organize a banquet at which they distribute their wealth to gain honor. So they are societies of economic eini. On a social level, they are based on the union of a clan or a family system. On a political, the women and men meet in a council house where domestic matters are discussed. No member is excluded. Each decision is made by consensus, and the same is true for the village and then the regional area. And then it was how the Haudenosaunee Confederacy worked also. A population living in a region takes decisions in the same way. Delegates from all the villages meet to discuss the decisions of their community. So every village, and in every village, every clan house is involved in the process of making the decision until consensus is reached on the regional level. So matriarchies are egalitarian societies of consensus. On a cultural level, matriarchal societies do not know religious transcendence of an unseen, untouchable, all-powerful white male being somewhere in the sky, to whom all is devalued as dead matter. In matriarchies, divinity is immanent, as the whole world is regarded as divine or sacred. Everything is spiritual. The festivals follow the rhythm of the season, and everything is celebrated. Nature in her manifold expressions, and the different clans with their different abilities and tasks, the different genders, the different generations, because there's a wealth in diversity. So there is no separation between sacred and secular. There is no private property, no territorial claims. People simply have usage rights on the soil, for Mother Earth cannot be cut up into pieces or owned. She gives the fruits of the fields and the animals to all people, and therefore the harvest and flocks cannot be privately owned. Instead, they are shared equally. The matriarchs, clan mothers, hold the most important goods, for they are responsible for the sustenance of all clan members. Matriarchal women are managers and administrators who organize the economy, not according to the profit principle, where an individual or small group of people benefits. Rather, the motivation is motherliness so that everyone thrives together. So the principle of motherliness is where altruism reigns and the well-being of all is at the center. It is at the same time a spiritual principle which humans take from nature, because Mother Nature cares for all beings at the same time. Grandfather Sun shines on everyone equally. He doesn't say, oh no, I'm going to turn my light off on this side so that people in Finland and don't get the sun, or I'm going to turn my light off right here in this spot so people in Turkey don't get the sun because they fucking piss me off. Mm. Right? That doesn't happen. So motherliness then, as an ethical principle, pervades all areas, and this holds true for men as well. So again, in Sumatra, the Minangkabau, who are matriarchal Muslims, get that right. They're matriarchal Muslims. Okay. If a man desires to acquire status among his peers or be a representative of the clan, the criteria is that he must be like a good mother. Motherly work is the most important work of all, for it is the work of life itself, work for our future. So matriarchies or freedom economies are need oriented. The guidelines on which their societies are based aim to meet the needs of each with the greatest benefit for all. In these societies, goods, nurturing, care, cultural creativity, and ritual events all circulate as gifts. Festivals of the agricultural year are celebrated along with the life cycle festivals of the individual clans. Festivals are celebrated with the whole village or the town, and during these festivals, the goods and food, nurturing, care, and cultural presentations are moved around as an unconditional gift. So, for example, a clan that had a bumper crop and gathered a great harvest will give this fortune away at the first opportunity. The festivals work according to the maxim that those who have shall give. So these societies are not based on accumulation. Rather, the economical and cultural actions are geared towards a leveling of the differences in living standards and to the joy of everybody participating in the cultural performances. Honor in matriarchy means that the altruism and pro-social action of this clan gains great admiration from other clans. Honor means priceless and invaluable human contact and cooperation. It sets free the most honorable human feelings, such as unreserved giving, true devotion, benevolence, and friendship, and it enables love to grow. Matriarchies have sustained themselves and maintained themselves without domination, without hierarchies, and without wars. The violence against women and children that characterizes our societies all over the world is completely unknown in matriarchal societies. So life can be organized in such a way that it is based on needs, peaceful, non-violent, and simply human, as well as to stress the quality of life over the quantity of production. And that's where we'll end tonight.
Is this going to be on the materials?
Yeah.
Wow, because it's such a beautiful, beautiful piece of teaching.
Yeah.
That everybody should have, and nobody's ever told this. It's it would seem like such a natural thing to know.
Yeah.
Right? Such a profound, and yet it's so bizarre just having to come this far in life to hear that. Don't you feel that way?
Yeah.
And because I think we've all made that analysis somehow when we were little, and we observed, how fatherhood was and motherhood was, and we felt that something wasn't right when we were little. But then we eventually got dragged into just being like that too. And now here comes with words in a text, in a presentation, in a teaching, because folks, this is a teaching. Here we come to teach profound things in the universe. We're not here to gossip. And so this is a profound teaching that everybody should receive. And this is a taste of it, because anybody watching this is probably feeling that they want to know more. They want to hear it again. They want to read it. And the way to do that is to become part of Aloha Nidau Living.
Yeah.
Because
become an Udallville light through our...
We must say that we're not here to predicate, right, to others. We're not here to think that it's like everything that the experts do. They'll write stuff, right? It's just seems so beautiful because they write these marvelous essays, and they all they publish it, and they think somebody's going to pick up on it. Yeah, and that's a very different thing.
They don't put it into practice.
Yeah, let me finish my sentence.
Oh, sorry.
They don't allow. They're not coming from a proposition. They're not coming from an action. They think that just creating the knowledge is something that you can do, and that's as far, because they're not even themselves willing to look into what. Oh, they claim they get ratings for it in YouTube. This guy, for example, for the forecasts of the weather, the space weather, the sun, what it's doing, all the electromagnetic. That guy, right? And he says that everybody's got to. It's go back to. It's just such an objective. The hunter-gatherer times, and right. It's such a chronological, modern, mechanistic worldview of it still.
Right? Like, oh my God forbid we should go back to like a Paleolithic area.
Right. So they don't get out of this intellectualism, this mechanistic intellectualism. And that's what I'm trying to point out here, is that if we're not doing the same thing. So if we just shared this with you, and that and there's going to be, sure, there's a book for this, but if we just printed it out and thought that was going to be enough, then we wouldn't understand anything, because we're doing something way bigger than that. We are taking our hands, our feet, and we're getting out of all of these structures, and we're saying no.
And we're doing our best to put.
And we're walking away from eventually the antennas and everything that can be harmful to us, and we're going to build from there.
Yeah.
Whatever it is that is going to remain as a humanity, because take the expert's word on it, it's coming down.
Yeah.
Or take or don't believe that, word, and even if it lingers for a while, it's the lingering of nothingness. Do you want to be still in nothingness, or do you want to walk into beingness right now? So that's the invitation we make everyone here when they come watch this.
Yeah.
And that's, you're wondering, you viewer, what are we here doing? What is it that we sell? What is it that we predicate? That's what is it that we do? Where do we come from? What is Aloha Nidao Living? That's what Aloha Nidao Living is. It's that project to come together and create that new way of living.
That's the creation of Adultville Pueblos.
Yeah. So that's the invitation. And what will we have next week?
Oh, next week we're going to talk about how money, equity, fiction, and external authority replaced the omnipresent essence of life, equality, one life. And I just heard this today. I really like this. Instead of calling it the God process or the 0 point field, it's just life. I've heard the yogis say life is always seeking to create it. That's exactly that's the Hunamku. The cosmic tree of life is life itself. So life, equality, abundant love, and unity for all for eternity with internal authority. How that got replaced by money, equity, fiction, and external authority.
Wow, beautiful. So what's the title? Life? I love that short. No?
It's this very long title.
Okay. Can you say it again?
How money, well, we can make it short. How money replaced God.
How money replaced God. Okay.
Or how money replaced life.
Life.
Now, say how money replaced God. Life. Because that'll get. Because most people consider God is life. God is life.
I like life. I like life because I think God would drive away all the people that don't like the word God that much.
Yeah.
Or that are uncomfortable with that. And if we say life, it's just, I mean, I like the effect of what it does when you hear about it, because it's like that. It's like, even if you're godless, I mean, or you think you are, you can still think money is you don't realize that money's taking away your life too. So that's why I like life.
Yeah.
So what do you say? Life?
How money replaced life.
Yeah. Or God and life. How about that?
God and life. Yeah.
Okay. Well, so it's
but the very long title is how money, equity, fiction, and external authority replaced life, equality, love, and unity, and internal authority.
Oh, if you want to have the long title, I mean, it's not a design. In this case, it's not. I don't think it's an issue. We can do the long title, and I like the long title.
Yeah, I'll put it on Trello for you. So
I won't remember it. I don't need to see it written.
It's a very long title, but that's the truth of it.
Yeah. Wow. I like it. I really like it. So
yeah, it's going to be quite eye-opening because it was for me. It was for me. I didn't realize growing up steeped in religiosity as I was in a religion how absolutely true this was. It's uncovered a lot of wow. So
wow, and what can we say? Yeah, so we're gonna see that next week. And do we see? I had something in my mouth I wanted to share, but it kind of just flew away with that title. I just blew it away. Oh man. Okay. So I won't chit chatter anymore. And if folks want to join us next week, then they can do that. And otherwise, they can contact us anytime. And we're here to create this living life project So we're not gonna act like everybody else that's playing their avatars do.
Yeah.
We are playing humans, and we're gonna be and try and be as human as possible. So
Yep.
come join us in that. So thank you
Yeah,
for being here, and see you next week.